want to tell you a little bit about my persuasion journey. I realized early in life that everything we want is on the other side of persuasion. And let's see how many people are honest out there. How many of you have met somebody that didn't seem that sharp, but that sold circles around you? Well, a few honest hands out there. Wow. Where does that come from? Is it schooling? Is it education? They just pick it up on the streets? And even when you talk to high producers and they tell you what to do, a lot of times they're not even sure what they do. It's hard for them to transfer it to you. And I learned this early on growing up, selling door-to-door baseball candy that only the neighbors that knew me would buy, right? And then that a lot of these things didn't work. In kindergarten, I was painting this beautiful picture. It was for a contest at the end of the year. And the teacher came by and said, "It looks good." And I thought that was it. I was going to win it all. And there's a girl next to me. She was a little smaller than I was. She had blonde hair. And I said, "I'm going to win it all." She's all, "No, you're not." I go, "Look, this is a beautiful picture." It was under this. It was a seascaper under the ocean. There was a gold, and there was this beautiful sea monster. And the stars were aligned. It was just beautiful. I knew I was going to win. I was trying to convince her that she was going to vote for me, that I was going to win the best painting because it was the best sea monster that anybody had ever painted. And I tried to convince her, and she said, "No, I don't like it. I don't like it. I can't tell what it is." So with my great persuasion skills, I took the blue paint and poured it over her blonde hair. And that's what a lot of people do with persuasion. They try and they force it, even with children. Because the challenge is this, is that it's so much easier to use the lower form of persuasions, do it or else. Because if you try to get your children to eat vegetables, what's the worst vegetable out there? What is it? Brussels sprouts. You say, "Johnny, eat your Brussels sprouts. Oh, vitamin D and vitamin A, they're just so good for you." And what's Johnny say? "No." And then you kind of go down the ladder of persuasion. "Well, if you eat, I'm your parent, eat your Brussels sprouts." "No." "Well, I'll give you ice cream if you eat your Brussels sprouts." "No." And then what do you end up doing? You eat those Brussels sprouts because a lot of times it's easier and the other forms aren't working. And then most people haven't been taught those forms of persuasion. And that's what I learned in kindergarten and growing up. And when I came to the university, I needed a job to support myself, and I had two options. I had a friend that came to me and says, "Let's go do telemarketing. I'm in telemarketing right now. You can make $500 to $1,000 a week part-time." Thinking, wow. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, telemarketing, I'm a call, I don't know if I want to do that. I go, "Do they guarantee that?" Of course, the door marked security. "Do they guarantee that?" And they said, "Well, no." And "No, I don't think I want to do that," because I had another job offer in the athletic department, helping the football team. I'm like, hey, that's pretty prestigious. It was hourly, wasn't that much, but I figured I'd move up the ranks. So we get to work the first day, and to my dismay, I was there handing out towels, shorts, and athletic supporters. Didn't think that's where I wanted to be, so I went back to my friend. I said, "Hey, is that job still open? Because I can talk to people on the phone. How hard can it be?" And I went and I took a tour, and I met all these people that didn't seem that sharp, that were making a lot of money. I figured, hey, I can do this. I'm in college now. I can do this. And so they hired me, and I realized that I was making a lot of friends but selling no one. You know that feeling? I was even talking to people that sent me birthday cards, but they still didn't buy from me. I'm like, wow, what is the difference? How can he do this? And so that's when I really started studying the world of persuasion, motivation, and influence, and watching the high producers and do what they do, because I've always been in the trenches. And this was the type of telemarketing center where the operator would call you up and give you a number. And you would say it would either be real estate or weight loss or stock market or tax things, these different programs. And the operator called me up one day, and I was just mad that I was making all these friends and nobody was buying. And I said, "I'm going to do it this time. I'm going to make the sale." And she calls up and she gives me the number. I look it up, and it's real estate. And it didn't work. And then he called up again. I go, "No, this time I was even more motivated to do it." And so I looked it up again. It was weight loss. So this gentleman came on the phone. I was all excited. I'm like, "Well, sir, how long have you been overweight?" And there was this long pause. I'm like, "Oh, no." And so he says, "Well, 10, 15 years. I go, "How many pounds do you need to lose?" An even longer pause. Like, "Well, 50 pounds. And we started talking about it, and we're going through it. I'm connecting, doing the things. And about 10, 15 minutes in the conversation, he says, "What's this got to do with real estate?" Like, oh, no. I'm like, "Well, we want our investors to be healthy." I didn't know what to say. And I learned it.